And guys, if you have any questions throughout, just throw them out. Just throw them out to me. If you're unsure, if you disagree with anything I say, let's talk about it. That's the whole point of this video that we're going to do real quick. So just looking at your character sheet real quick. So you're running very crit haste, crit mastery heavy, aren't you? So you got what, 28% crit, 49% mastery, pretty decent. I mean, I've looked at your gear off earlier in the stream, and it's actually looking really nice. You got some good optimization actually, and we can look at the Azerite. You got Wild Flesh Running, and Treacherous, Jungle Fury, Wild Flesh Running, and Jungle Fury, Wild Flesh Running. So obviously, I mean, you're going to be thrashing on single target. That's for sure. We can just quash that real quick. Check Discord comedy. I'll have to check it after this. All right, I'll check out your meal time after this, and then we can do a cooking stream. So, did you run with Sabertooth? You ran with Sabertooth, then you and Brutal Slash, yeah. But then you just had instead of Mass Entangle, you had Bash. You said, and what else? Okay, so you had Bash. And then everything was the same. See, I personally, I mean, this is the 13 Underrot we're going to be looking at. I personally would run with Predator. We've been looking at it today. I've been doing a lot of keys today, and we've been looking at it, and I find that actually Predator it seems to be more consistently like high damage, especially on lower keys. It very much does depend on the affix of that week. In this dungeon where there are bosses, I mean, there are a couple bosses, because a lot of you people probably going to think, oh, well, why would you take Predator? It's not going to be any good on bosses, and that's not always the case. Certain dungeons, the bosses actually have a way for you to reset your Tiger's Fury. So you have this dungeon, for example, where the first boss summons an ad. Now you can get your Tiger's Fury reset on that. You can also, on the second boss, if any of those little blood devils get through, you can reset your predators off them. Obviously, it's not good if they do get through, but you can kind of, if you want to, you can kind of, it's kind of inevitable, you know, depending on how quickly you kill the boss, sometimes they do get through. So you can reset them on that. The third boss, you can't reset them, and the last boss, you definitely can reset your predator. So 3 out of 4 bosses, you can actually get the reset on your predator, which obviously, with the Wild Flesh Running trait, means you're getting more critical strike from your Jungle Fury. Plus, you have higher energy because you're not having to pool as much, because you could just proc your Tiger's Fury so often. Now, this is annoying without sound. I'd much prefer with sound. It's okay. I'll play some music over this. It's fine. I can pretend. We can pretend. All right. Just imagine some scratching noises. Now, you've gone with Mighty Bash. I would take Typhoon, but you've already explained your tank doesn't like you taking Typhoon. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. The thing with Bash is that you also have your Maim. So Maim and Bash are kind of they're performing the same function. Whereas with Typhoon, you can get a mass kind of, and some things are immune to stuns, but they can suffer from pushbacks. Now I like how you targeted the caster on this pack. That's obviously quite critical. The caster is what you want to focus. Okay, well that managed to get the heal off, but that's fine. Just looking at your rotation, I mean, we kind of want to focus on looking at how you're handling these certain situations. So I want to just bring this back and look at how you go for like a large pack AoE, because obviously you don't have Predator, so you're not going to be getting the reset on that. And this week, this week on affixes is teaming, quaking, and reaping, and fortified. So you're going in with, okay, so you're getting your Primal Wrath up, and you're just swiping and Primal Wrathing. Now, obviously, you want to Thrash, which you do. So, I mean, you're doing that effectively. Do you use your cooldowns on this? I can't see you using your cooldowns. I personally would have used my cooldowns here. It depends if you're skipping, which, based on your group setup, it doesn't look like you're skipping. So I would, as in skipping to the first boss, I would have used my cooldowns on this, especially since you're not running Predator. Because it just maintains that high energy level. But apart from that, you are just literally, you're swiping, and yeah, I mean, a lot of people would say, okay, well, do you want to be popping your rakes? Do you want to be switching? What is this? Is this a PTR thing where you can play as a hunter's? Feels bad, man. No, we're looking at a key right now. We're looking at a key that our boy Hug has sent in. What was I saying? I've lost my train of thought now. Yeah, so obviously, I mean, you're thrashing on even on single target because of your Wild Flesh Running build. Now, apart from that, you're probably not going to want to rake spam on like 5 or so targets, because your Wild Flesh Running is going to mean that your swipe hits so hard, especially as well with having Primal Wrath. Your AoE is just hits so hard without having to rake spam. It's just rake spam is not good. It's not very good on that many targets. You only really want to rake spam on like 3 or fewer targets. But realistically, if you're running that flesh rending, I probably would even just swipe in Primal Wrath on 3 targets. Okay, now we take a little death here. I mean, you use the survival instincts, right? Wait, do you use the survival instincts? What happens? Did you stand in the, yeah, so you stood in the cleave there. You popped bear form. Is your tank dead? Your tank's dead, that's why. Okay. So your tank messed up and died. That's why. Oh, you even see you targeted, so that's cool. So your tank dies, and that's that. Okay, that's not really your fault. Not much you can do about it. You probably could have kited it, but that's neither here nor there, you know? Oh, you also play a Tauren. Ooh. I like it. I like it. I like it. I mean, how much are you using your War Stomp as well? Are you featuring your War Stomp? Okay, there you go. There's the Invis, which actually, as a Feral, you don't need to Invis. It doesn't really matter. It just means you can if you want, but you really don't need to. So it means that you can use potions on other bosses and stuff like that if you really want to, but you don't really need to in a 13. So that's fine. I would really only recommend using potions on pulls, probably in like a 16 or higher, if it's really important that you want to try and time that. Okay, so we're going to look into this first boss, and we're going to kind of review this single target damage here. So, okay, so obviously you get your Blood Talons up, so that's cool. I'm just going to follow your rotation. I want to see your intro. Okay, so you Tiger's Fury, Berserk, perfect. I probably would Berserk and then Tiger's Fury. I know it seems minor, and I'm gonna actually call you on that. I would Berserk and then Tiger's Fury, because if you Tiger's Fury first, Tiger's Fury lasts less time than Berserk, and if you Tiger's Fury first, then that's like what, 1 global less that you have of your Tiger's Fury. So it seems minor, but when you actually look at when your Tiger's Fury drops off, you can technically, and you're not a Night Elf, so that's fine, but if you are a Night Elf, you can Shadow Meld and re-rake, and it will act as if you were in stealth. So it's actually a big damage increase. But you only want to do that if you have Tiger's Fury active. Now you could argue that you can actually Shadow Meld rake off of your initial Tiger's Fury. So it is, and then it puts your Shadow Meld on cooldown instantly. So it's pretty good. So you do, that would be ideal. You're not a Night Elf, so it's not as critical, but I would still Berserk and then Tiger's Fury. It seems minor, but I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? We're trying to look at like those minor, yeah, Night Elves are OP. That's why everyone's moving to Alliance, huh? Okay, so you get your Rake, you get your Rip Up, you get your Thrash. Perfect. Now your Wild Flesh Rending is proccing off of your Thrash. So you're good there. And then you don't have Brutal Slash, so it's literally just going to be Shred and Ferocious Bites. You shouldn't have to re-rip or anything, so that's fine. I'll be interested to see what you do on 2 targets. You getting your interrupts out, that's good. Again, you're avoiding like the AoE element of this boss, that's good. Following the mechanics, always good, always good. I mean, ignore mechanics if it's a DPS increase, always. That is my top tip. But if it's not a DPS increase, then just do the mechanic. Okay, good. I mean, you let your Rake fall off there a little bit. You probably could have watched that a little bit closer, but that's okay. I probably would have focused that small ad a little bit more. Who is this? Yeah, it's Hug. It's Hug. Your damage is really good though, man. I mean, look at that. You're doing like over 30k DPS. Can we actually look at what you're peaking at? Are you peaking at 31? You're peaking at like, okay, let me see your intro rotation like peak. Let me see your intro rotation peak. And the reason I'm spending so much time on this boss is because this is a good single target boss where we can actually, like, you're getting your Bloodlust, you're getting all that kind of stuff where you have your cooldowns and everything, so it's like a nice fresh boss. Whereas like later in the dungeon, if you mistime your cooldowns and stuff, it can kind of, you don't always have the best fight set up. Whereas right now you have the best fight set up. So it's important to kind of analyze this as the best fight for you right now in this dungeon. And yeah, that's why we're kind of focusing so much on this, because we don't have to look at every single little boss. You know what I mean? We can skip through a lot of this after this. So you're peaking at maybe, yeah, so you're peaking at around about that 30k mark. 34, okay, so about that 34k mark, which is pretty decent, so yeah, that's cool. That's actually some really, really good damage. I mean, if you had Brutal Slash, it would have been even higher. You do have the 2-target cleave element of this, but realistically, most of your damage... I gotta stop saying realistically. Most of your damage is coming from your Ferocious Bites. So actually, 2-target ripping is not as strong as it used to be. It just really, really is not. But I mean, you're doing well to maintain your Thrash, obviously for your Wild Flesh Rending. I personally don't like the Wild Flesh Raining build. I feel like thrashing on single target is a waste of energy, even though I know it is a DPS increase if you have Wild Flesh Raining. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good for me. So I try to avoid it if I can, but definitely Wild Flesh Raining, Jungle Fury are the like dominant traits in Mythic Plus. 100%. 100%. So that's good. That's good. I mean, I wouldn't have swiped there, but I see what you were going for. You're going for the 2-target cleave. I like it. I like it. You didn't need to do it. I'm not going to be overly critical on something like that, because that's just whatever. That's whatever. The thing is, as well, is like there's playing the absolute maximum, absolute like gold standard. But you gotta have fun too. I mean, realistically, you're in this key for like half an hour. You gotta be focused for like half an hour. Have a little bit of fun with it. Like, sometimes you cannot be performing the optimal rotation, but you're just having a good time with it. And it's fine. As long as you can do some decent damage out of it, that's fine. So again, yeah, you're not rake spamming, which is cool. I would have thrashed maybe slightly earlier. I would have thrashed slightly earlier. But that's fine. I mean, I want to see where you're using Blood Talons, aren't you? Yes, so you are using Blood Talons. I would like to analyze. I want to analyze this pack again. In fact, no, you know what? We'll jump to the first Reaping. So we'll jump to the first Reaping. We know it's coming up. It's coming up any second now, isn't it? Where are you at percentage-wise? How does it... Oh, okay, so you're at 20% now. So Reaping should be coming up now. So I want to see how you're going to be using your Blood Talon procs. Where's your combo points? Okay, so you're at 5 combo points, so I can track that. So Reaping is now up here. So you're using your Blood Talons. You just use your Blood Talons there. We'll wait for more mobs to come. And then I want to review this. Because this is the big thing that I see a lot of ferals doing, or a lot of ferals seem to struggle with their AoE and say, oh yeah, Blood Talons is terrible for AoE, or terrible for Mythics, like, I can't get it to work, it just doesn't seem to do any damage, like, what's going on? Okay, here we go. So here we go. Now we're going to look into it. Oh man, these mobs are so scattered. This is so scuffed. Okay, so you have 5 combo points. You should be... You don't have your Predator up, that's fine. So, you Primal Wrath there, that's cool. You got your Thrash up on most, if not all of these targets. Near enough, that's fine. So, you got your Predator proc here. You're at 2 combo points. Let's see what you do. You got your 4 combo points. You're going to proc your Predator now? No, you're waiting. Okay, so you're procking it now. Wait. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we just missed it. So, so your Predator, you Tiger's Fury. You pop your Blood Talons, and then you use your Primal Wrath. So that's cool. And then I would just swipe on it. You swiping on it? Yeah, you swiping on it. Okay, cool. So that's literally it. That's easy as that. And then Blood Talons, Primal Wrath again, and then swipe again. Perfect. On AoE like this, you just Blood Talons your swipes. Swipes in Primal Wrath as much as you can. So that's pretty much it. You never want to Blood Talons Thrash. Absolutely never. If you look at how much damage Thrash does, it is just nothing. It is just nothing. You crit, like, instead of doing like 3k per target with Thrash, you'll do like 4k. You don't want to do that. So yeah, definitely swipes and your Blood Talons, and that's all you need to be careful of. But Hug, I mean, you seem to be a pretty darn good player, dude. So you're doing what you need to be doing. I'm surprised your damage isn't overall higher though. Like, I want to skip now to the next Reaping. Because, I mean, this is going to be more of the same. This is just going to be a lot of AoE packs. And it looks like you're good with your AoE. You seem to be knowing. Is there anything, Hug, that you're unsure of? That you're kind of like, Reaping was scattered. That's why I didn't want to look at that one. I want to look at the next Reaping where it's going to be way more like... way more grouped. So you're at 36%. Is there anything that you're unsure of, Hug, that you're like, man, I think I'm probably being let down here, or I'm not sure why I'm not doing enough damage in this element? Like you're saying, if you're hitting like the 100k Reapings, that's pretty good. I mean, I can do, depending on the dungeon and everything like that, I can do like 120 to 150 in that region. So it's you know, it depends on the pull. I don't think I've ever gotten higher than 150, but that's pretty decent. It's pretty decent. Okay, so again, I mean, you start the combat fine. You always, whenever there's Reaping, you always have enough time to... I mean, I'm a Night Elf, so I'm I can shadow meld stealth if I have to, if I'm still in combat, but realistically you want to regrowth before the reaping comes and hits you. You also, if you know it's reaping, save combo points. That is my biggest thing, and I'll actually want to look at this, is how you save your combo points between pulls. Because you're running Primal Wrath, you want to be making sure that you're always going into fresh combat with as many combo points as possible. So if you see a mob at the last like 10% health, just hoard combo points. Hoard combo points, especially with like Predator and stuff as well, if you have it. There was a curve from jumping up to 15 keys, so looking for small mistakes that need to be fixed. Okay, I'll look into that then. But yeah, so this reaping now, you're what? Okay, so you should be popping your blood talents in a second. In fact, I'd even proc it here. In fact, no, in this situation right here, I would thrash again. I would get these mobs here. I would thrash again. Which would hit me at 5 combo points. You've got your Tiger's Fury up, so that's cool. I'd pop your blood talents, and then I would just Primal Wrath, and then just swipe spam, and that's literally it. So yeah, so you perfect. So you thrash there, make sure they all have it on them. It's all up to date. You give that swipe. I wouldn't have swipe. You wasted swipe there. You didn't need to do that. You wasted a combo point, and you've also wasted valuable time of your Tiger's Fury. So that is literally quite minor, but there you go. You pop your blood talents. What are we going for? We're gonna get a Primal Wrath. Yeah, obviously. Boom. I would have thrashed again there. Like 3 or 4 mobs came in. I would have thrashed again there. I know it seems negligible, but when you're that's what I do, and it seems to be decent DPS. But okay, so you're hitting up to like the 90k mark. I like that. I would have put my cooldowns there. That's one thing. I would have put my cooldowns. Is your Berserk on? Let's look at this. Yeah, your Berserk's sitting there. Your Berserk is absolutely just sitting there. In fact, when was the last time you used it? Let's take a little look. When is it on cooldown? Oh my god. Hug, you're killing me here. Dude, when was it last on cooldown? Hug, tell me it was on cooldown. Tell me you used it this dungeon. Hug, please. Okay, there, it was last on cooldown there. Okay, so you last used it on the boss, right? Yeah, you last used it on the boss. And then after the boss... So it's up off cooldown now. So let's register that. 718, right? You tend to only use it for bosses. No. That is gonna increase your DPS massively now, dude. Never. I think you'll learn between each dungeon when is ideal to use Berserk. Like, basically, you just need to know that you leave enough time before the next boss. In Underrot, you gotta think like, hey, Jadea, how you doing, man? How you doing? You gotta think in an Underrot, you've got to clear that whole room. So after that first boss, you have to run to that big circle room, and then you have to run that whole, you have to clear the whole thing. Plus, you're probably going to wait for Bloodlust, so you're probably going to clear up to the third boss even. You got so much time. Yeah, it's a 3-minute cooldown. So, like, if you're not using that to its highest, like, value, you're just wasting it. And on this week, it's... Oh, sorry, so you sent this in on a Tyrannical bursting Skittish week. Sorry, I forgot that the affixes have changed, haven't they? So I was thinking it was fortified this week, teaming, but it's not. It's Tyrannical bursting Skittish. Okay, so even so, like, obviously, you're gonna want your you're gonna definitely want your cooldowns for bosses. There are some weeks and I was like, dude, if I don't have my Berserk up for the boss, like, it's not the end of the world. In this week, you definitely want it up for the bosses, 100%. But you know now, you're going to wait 7 minutes. You're definitely going to be clearing. I can predict right now, if this group is any good, they will clear to the third boss, and then they'll come back to the second boss and kill that. Because of Bloodlust cooldowns. Now, I would definitely use your Berserk here, like in this scenario, on this reaping. Basically, just use your Berserk every single reaping if you can. If you can. It sounds stupid, but like, oh well, they're gonna die. There's no need to. No, because what you don't have enough interrupts. What if you don't have enough interrupts? You don't have enough stuns and CCs to like get rid of the spell casting mobs. Just mistakes can happen. There's a high mob density. Just use them on the reapings. But as well, you just have so much time in this dungeon. So like 718 then. So let's look at how much value you're wasting from this. So let's jump to when you next use it. All right. 718. So we already could have used it once. Okay, we could have used it twice by now. Could have used it twice. Okay, Now they pull the boss. So 7:18. So 7 minutes went by in between your uses of Berserk. So you could have used that. Well, actually, thinking of the timing, so you could have used it, if you'd used it at 7 minutes, it would have been up again at 10 minutes, it would have been up again at 13 minutes. Okay, yeah, so you could have used it once in a bit. Was it actually 7:18? Let's see, so it came off cooldown. When did it actually just... Yeah, so about 7 minutes. 7:08, yeah, so like 7:08. So you use it again. Wait, no, that's 14 minutes. Yeah, so you could have used it twice. You could have used it twice, because it would have been up again after 13 minutes. So yeah, you don't pull the boss until 14... You don't pull the boss until 14:12, so you could have used it twice there. Think of how much higher your DPS would have been. The thing you got to think is, well, you're not running Predator. And what Berserk is going to do is it's going to allow you to basically stay capped energy. So it means you could just spam, 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 which you don't have that luxury when you're not running Predator. So if you're going to run Sabretooth, you have to make good use of your cooldowns, because otherwise you're just going to be absolutely energy starved. And in a raid scenario, it's okay, because you can pool and it's fine. In a Mythic Plus scenario, it's just like, pull the next pack, big pack, let's go, let's go, let's go. Especially this week. You know what I mean? So you got to make sure you're making good use of those cooldowns. That's honestly, I'd say probably the absolute biggest thing that's screwing your DPS. 100%. 100%. Not bad. How's progress going? Did you own RB? We didn't. Well, we're 4 out of 9 now. We're 4 out of 9 as of today. But we've been progressing Conclave, so we're doing all right. But we didn't kill it on Thursday night, Opulence. So it's a little bit of reprogression, unfortunately. But we're getting there. We'll get there. It's fine. It's good because now tomorrow I get to do it and I get to log on it, so it's fine. So, I mean, really with this boss, like, the single target rotation, I think you have it down. It's literally just shred and maintain your bleeds. It would be interesting to look at, if you log these dungeons, Hug, it would be good to look at your bleed up times on bosses. That's one thing that I would probably check out. Make sure that you're keeping your rakes up and stuff. I mean, obviously on this boss, it's a little bit difficult because of the scenario that you're in. Yeah, so you did well to maintain... Was that a Blood Talon's rake? So you got 2 procs there. Okay, so you're gonna swipe. Oh, thrash. Okay, see, I wouldn't have done. So you're again. Here's a DPS increase tip, right? So you got 2 blood talons there, right? You're sitting at 4 combo points. So you can see here your rake's about to fall off. You've got your Tiger's Fury. Have you got your Tiger's Fury yet? No. Okay, your Tiger's Fury is not up yet, so that's fine. You've got your rake. It's about to fall off. Obviously, you're gonna need to Ferocious Bite, so that's fine. Now, what I would do in this scenario, this dream scenario right here, is I would probably hold for like 2 seconds. And I would wait for your Tiger's Fury off cooldown. I can't see exactly how long it's got on cooldown, but it looks like it's about 2 seconds. By the time you get to this mob, I would just hold 2 seconds. And I would have even Skull Bash to it if you even want to reduce your time to boss even more, increase your DPS. Wait for the Tiger's Fury, re-rake, re-Ferocious Bite. But you're going to go into this now, and you're going to thrash on your... Because neither of those are going to benefit from your Wild Flesh Rending. Neither your Rake nor your Ferocious Bite. It's only you're going to be your swipes or your shreds that are going to benefit from your Wild Flesh Rending. So you don't need to thrash right here. You need to re-rake and you need to Ferocious Bite. By thrashing, you're wasting your Blood Talons. Because now you're going to... Okay, so you thrash and then you're going to need to Ferocious Bite, right? So you Ferocious Bite there. Now you're in this kind of nasty situation where your rake's been off the target for a couple seconds, right? You've got your proc of Predator, so you're gonna have to spend a global on... So 1 global on getting your Blood Talons. You're also then at 2 combo points. So do you Blood Talons now at 2 combo points? Maybe you'll crit with your Rake, right? Maybe you'll crit with your Rake. But then you're still only at 4 combo points. So your next Ferocious Bite is not going to be up with Blood Talons, which is a DPS loss. Or what you can do is not re-rake, use a shred, hopefully it crits, then you'll have to pop your Blood Talons. So that's still 2 globals. Then you'll have to rake. Then you can Ferocious Bite. So kind of, you're wasting 2 or 3 globals here, which is just kind of nasty, and... It's just an awkward situation to be in, and trust me, I do this all the time. Like, I do this all the time. But this is, like, one of those scenarios where it's just, like... It puts you in this nasty position. This is just a nasty DPS loss position, you know? So then you choose to Tiger's Fury and Rake with no blood talents sits you at 3 combo points. I probably, in that situation, I would have used Shred. So I would have Tiger's Fury'd to hopefully give you enough crit off of your Jungle Fury to give you a crit up to 4 combo points. I then would have Blood Talons raked and then Ferocious Bite. The reason being is that you want to reduce the number of globals you're going to have to use to get your rake up in time. So if you can Jungle Fury crit with a Shred, and you've got Thrash on the target, so that's fine. You weren't going to Blood Talons your Shred anyway, so your Shred is at the maximum DPS it was going to be at. And then when you Tiger's Fury, hopefully you get 4 combo points. If you don't, you just Shred again. Whatever. It happens. Like, it's unlucky, okay? Then you're gonna, hopefully it crits. Let's say it crits. Boom. Excellent. Then you're going to Blood Talons. Then, cast Regrowth, get your Blood Talons. Then Rake. Then you're good to go. Then you can Ferocious Bite. Then all your Shred, your Rake, and your Ferocious Bite will roll at the maximum DPS with the most minimal delay. That would have been the best scenario to handle that. But that's fine, man. That's fine. That's just a really good example of just being in a nasty situation that you can so easily find yourself in. And I do it all the time. Honestly. So it's no biggie. The amount of times I'm in a raid and I'm on like Grong or something and I'm sitting at 3 combo points and my rake has 1 second left, which I'm not hitting my pandemic window there, right? And like, okay, it'll be at like 3 seconds or 1 second depending. But I'll be at 3 combo points and I'll I'll be at 2 combo points and I need my Yeah. I'll be at 3 combo points, and I need to re-rake. Like, rake needs to be my next ability without fail because it's about to fall off. So I need to re-rake. And I'm sitting at 3 combo points, and I'm like, oh, just please crit for me. Please crit for me because I can't afford to Shred and then Rake and then Ferocious Bite. Or I'll have messed up and I'll accidentally press my Predator too early. And I'll be like, oh, shit, okay, now I'm at 3 combo points. I need to re-rake. I've used my Blood Talons, so I can't even just, like, offset my rake by a second. And then I'm just, yeah, I can let this play, sorry. And then I'm just, like, oh, please crit for me. And 9 times out of 10 it does crit, because, the lower just knows that I need it. And it will crit, and I'll get my double combo points from the rake, and then it's like, oh, thank God. That was actually the most optimal play. Perfect. So that's that, really. I mean, you cover that now. That's looking at just like a common mistake that can occur. So now let's look, because this is the thing I want to focus on now, is your cooldown uses. So your Berserk is now up on cooldown. That's 1725, right? Let's just call it that. So 1725. When is it next on cooldown for you? So you don't use it on any of that trash, right? When do you pull the boss? You pull the boss at... It was 1725, wasn't it? So you pull the boss 3 minutes after your Berserk is on cooldown. Is up from cooldown. So you had exactly 3 minutes until this boss. So you could have used your cooldown. And it would have been on a large pack as well. If you actually look at where it was, what, 17 something, or 18? Is that 1720, right? So you could have used your Ferocious Bite. Oh wait, was that on? Yeah, okay. So your Berserk is about to come off cooldown. 1720, yeah? So you could have used your Berserk on this pack here with your Tiger's Fury and just absolutely popped off. Absolutely popped off. You're at how many percent on mini? You're at 63%, okay? So the Reaping is not going to be up for a while. So you've got no Reaping coming up, so you don't need to save your Berserk for that. You know the next boss is going to be within roughly 3 minutes, right? We know, looking at this video, we can jump up in time, so we can see that it was 3 minutes, but you know it's going to be roughly 3 minutes. And this is how I would pace it, is you look at that and you go, right, I got to do this pack, then we've got to do the worm, then we have to pull another pack, then we have the 2 mobs at the end, then we're on the boss. Plus you'll have a Reaping in there somewhere, right? Most likely. I believe you should have a Reaping in there by that point. Plus, you gotta wait for all the mobs to run for you. That's more time, right? You have enough time there, and you know that it's Tyrannical. So even if you fuck up and you go, you know what? I used my cooldowns here. It was a misplay. I should have held on to him. Oh well, we're about to pull the boss, and I'm not gonna have my cooldowns for another 30 seconds. that really is not the end of the world, because if you look at it, your Bloodlust is on another 7 minutes, right? So if we jump to when the next boss is, right, do you end up getting a Reaping here? Yeah, so you definitely get a Reaping here, right? You have 6 minutes left on your Bloodlust, so you know you're definitely not going to Bloodlust this boss. So having Berserk up on this boss doesn't really matter when you have it, because you're not going to have Bloodlust. So it's like, that doesn't matter. Just, you can use your own cooldowns without having to worry about when the group are using their cooldowns, right? Berserk only really helps with getting your bleeds up on the target, and then it helps with, getting a few initial ferocious bites up, building a little bit of burst damage, right? So, Berserk isn't really a very good cooldown, but it's still good to have, especially when you're using your Saber Teeth. And then, like, you're going to go on this boss now, it's going to be roughly 3 minutes. Even if my cooldowns don't come up until 30 seconds up into the boss, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, because it's a single target boss. You're not going to Bloodlust. It doesn't really matter when they come up, because you're not going to get 2 uses out of it. You know it's Tyrannical, so you know you're definitely going to have them up at some point. It doesn't really matter. But we can look at this now and go, okay, yeah, so your Berserk is up off cooldown. So you would have had 1 use of your Berserk there. So far in this dungeon, after 13 minutes, is that 13 minutes of being in here, or 90 minutes in here in total? So you've been in here for, okay, so you've been in here for 20 minutes, right? You have 3 uses of Berserk that you have not taken advantage of. Think of that DPS loss. This boss, I mean, let's look at this. Let's look at this, because this is a fun boss for me. I really like this boss. If you can, okay, so perfect, we get on you. So I'm so glad you did it. I'm so glad you did it, Hug. I'm so glad you did it. This is just massive, playing with my dick in my hand. I'm not fucking doing anything right now, right? This is 0 damage. This is 0 damage. Go put the kettle on, alright? Because we're fucking around right now, okay? You got 4 seconds left on this bad boy. What? You got 3 seconds left on this bad boy, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? You fucking around, right? First of all, take Tiger Dash. Even if you don't, that's fine. You can actually use Wild Charge on this. This is still fine, actually. Wild Charge is still really good on this. I would have taken Tiger Dash in this dungeon. The reason being, on this particular scenario, where is it? So let's back it up a little bit. So let's wait till this goes on you, right? So let's see it. Let's see it, right? It's going to come up right now. So you've got 5 seconds to move out, okay? If you have Tiger Dash, it takes you about a second. About a second to move from the boss to a reasonable position. So what I would have done in this scenario, I would have stayed on the boss. I got 5 seconds. Stay on the boss. Chill out, chill out. Turn your camera a little bit. There's no mechanics, right? Just don't stand in front of the boss. You have literally nothing else going on this boss, right? You've got your bleeds up. Your bleeds are fine. You're chilling, right? Scan with your camera a little bit. Look at where this other guy's going to run. Let's see where he's going to move, right? Look at the biggest mass of mushrooms, and just kind of do a little scan. Check it out. Plan your route, but you got 5 seconds. You got plenty of time, right? You wait until 1 second left. You pop your Tiger Dash, and you just bounce out of there, right? Because right now you're wasting 4 seconds. By the time you get over here, right? So you start moving out like immediately. So let's look at this. The last time you attack the boss there, then you're gone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 seconds of playing with your fucking dick in your hand right there. Okay, that's valuable DPS time. That is valuable DPS time that you're just missing out on for absolutely no reason. Now, I'm going to commend you here. You did the mechanic. Bravo. But could you have done the mechanic with 7 seconds more of DPS time? I think you could have. I think you could have. Quite easily. You definitely could have done that in 7 seconds. Because you wait until 1 second, you quickly move out, then you skull bash back in. Touche. Touche. You skull bash back in. It's gonna make that distance, and really, okay, I was gonna give you another little tip. Again, yeah, so you immediately move out. Again, let's look here. Let's look here. So let's see how much time you lose on this boss, okay? So you've already lost 10 seconds. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I would even say, if I really want to get really picky with you, You're not even in an optimal clearing position. If I were you, I would have stood right here. And yes, there's the shockwave, but I still would have just stood right there and just waited for it. This one's actually pretty decent because he might shockwave. That guy's going to clear all those. He might shockwave there. But maybe I would have stood there. This is a good position, actually, though. 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Okay, and you got hit by that there. So not only did you take unnecessary damage, you also... Less time you're attacking the boss, you could have just skull bashed. You could have just skull bashed, you would have been back on the boss immediately. So we're at what, 5 seconds there, weren't we? So 5, 6, 7, 8. So like 8 seconds, right? So we're already at about 17, 18 seconds that you've just not been attacking this boss, right? 17, 18 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see if you get it again. And this is really nitpicky stuff, but that's the difference between doing an extra 1, 2, 3K's DPS. You know what I mean? And especially on like a Mythic Plus, like how many times have you wiped on a boss that's had like 100k health left, or you know, something like that? Imagine if everybody in your group was attacking for an extra 20 seconds of unavoidable damage. Like each person, you got 3 DPS. That's an extra like what, 60 seconds worth of damage. Again, so one. Okay, wait. So again, and we're just gonna count it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm counting really fast. That's not fair. I'm counting really fast. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seconds. So we were at like I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, like 17 seconds. So we're at like 24 seconds now that you haven't attacked. You know? And mechanically, again, you're moving out. You moved out, and you ended up sending on the mushroom anyway. So your move out didn't really do much. Now you guys are doing pretty good at clearing these in general, so you're okay. You're getting hit by a few of these. I would say maybe just pop some defensives. If you get hit by those, just pop a survival instincts and just give your healer a little bit of a hand. You know, especially on a boss like this, and especially since we don't have innovate. Your healer already hates you because you don't have innovate. Okay, your healer already thinks you're an asshole because you're not a boomkin and you don't just give him free mana. So do him a favor and pop a defensive. But I can't see your survival instincts usage, actually. I can't see where it is on your bars. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so you got 2 on cooldown. So I'm going to trust that you did alright with using those, so that's fine. Okay, so on that boss, you had 25-ish seconds that you could have been attacking. Yeah, got it. We had about 25-ish seconds that you just weren't attacking. You know, so that's big. That's big. I mean, don't get me wrong, you were still top DPS. That's still cool. You were still doing about 19k DPS, which is still really solid. But that probably would have been more around the area of like 21k, maybe, with that extra 25 seconds, potentially. So again, okay, you know, your Berserk's about to come off cooldown. We can kind of wrap this up a little bit, but your Berserk's about to come off cooldown. So your Berserk is on cooldown from 23-28, right? 23-28. Let's go. 22-28. All the way up to the boss. Where's the boss? Okay, so let's say there. 23-28. So you had 26-54 is the current time now, right? So 23-28. So you had over 3 minutes. You had 3.5 minutes. So you could have used your Berserk again. So you had, in total in this dungeon, 4 occasions where you could have used your Berserk that you just did not. Apart from that, I mean, you're potting on this, which is awesome to do that on a 13. Hey, if you got the money, dude, go for it. I personally wouldn't have, but go for it. In general, like, you did well, man. Your AoE rotation was good. You were doing what you were supposed to do with your blood talons. I mean, I would have liked to see more cooldown usage. Obviously, that would have increased your DPS. That would have been just like way more beneficial for you. It would have given you way bigger bursts as well, especially on like reaping and things like that. Your positioning, again, so we looked at your positioning. Maybe just be a little bit more aware of that, of opportunities where you can just optimize your DPS. Think, do I really need to move out like right now? Do I really need to do that? No. Okay, I know I can move out, and you have to trust yourself sometimes. And you know what? Sometimes you will fuck it up, and you will accidentally delay it too long, and you'll drop one of those swirls in the group, and boom, and you get knocked up, and maybe your tank gets knocked up, right? Which is like, oh, fuck this guy, right? And it sucks. But so you have to do that shit to mess up and then go, okay, don't mess up again. And next time you won't mess it up. You know, so you do have to just give yourself the opportunity to make mistakes. Apart from that, is there anything that you wanted to comment on? I mean, your route looks good. I mean, it's Underrot. It's pretty much you just run straight down. You run straight down. Your route seemed pretty good. You did a skip at the beginning, which is cool. I mean, if you have a rogue, obviously it's nice. Rogue can do the skips and stuff. If you don't, you can pop your invis potion, so that's cool. Apart from that, man, yeah, no, you did solid, dude. You did solid. Honestly, I was really struggling to find anything to really critique you on because you do it. I mean, our rotation's pretty simple on single target. It was literally a case of I would have berserked and then Tiger Furied instead of I would have Tiger Furied and then berserk. You know, I would have liked to see your war stomp a little bit more as well. Actually, I don't think I see you use war stomp at all. Is this okay? No, use it there. Use it there. So use it once there. Okay. Let's see how you use it. Okay, so you use it. See that we're gonna nitpick again. We're gonna be really nitpicky. If you're paying attention there, right? You're gonna see your shaman. He's gonna drop his totem down, so you can see 3 seconds there. So you can see he's dropped his totem down. Everything's stunned. There is no single cast going on right now. Not at all. They're all still stunned for 1 second, and I see you about to press it. Don't do it, Hug. Don't do it. Hug, don't do it. Oh, he did it. He pressed it. You interrupted nothing there. Which is, again, it's one of those things, and that's going to be the difference between completing your 18 key or not completing your 18 key, is good interrupts, good stuns, that kind of thing. Cycling those interrupts, cycling those stuns. But that's just being really nitpicky, dude. Honestly, you did great. I mean, okay, so you used War Stomp there again. Again, where do you use it this time? Let's just take a little look. Because it's all about effective cooldown usage. Honestly, that's the difference between a 13 key and a 17 key. The difference between a 17 key and a 20 key is just really good cooldown usage, you know? Might need to make a weak order for the tracking of the cooldowns. I would definitely look at that and just get used to where you feel you go, right, okay. Like if you're in an Underrot and you've just killed the first boss and your berserk is on cooldown, you can probably use it 2 times before you pull the boss. And we looked at that and it was 2 times. Because you think you got to clear all the way around that whole room. You know there's no way you're pulling that room. Because there are some times where you think, oh, I want to use my cooldowns right now, but I don't know if the tank is going to skip this bit or not. I don't know, like, are we going to pull this right now? Or are we going to do this route? Are we going to do that route? If we go this route, then I can definitely use my cooldowns. If we don't, then I need to save it onto my cooldowns. Whereas with Underrot, second boss, you know you're clearing that whole goddamn thing. You're going around the whole loop. So let's see where you War Stomp here, right? So you got Wave of Decay casting. Again, not the best War Stomp use, I don't think. You've literally got just Wave casting. And that's it. I mean, there's a fixate going on. Is good. Maybe you can stun that. But really, this War Stomp was kind of... It didn't really do a whole lot. What I would have done... Actually, I mean, War Stomp... What's the cooldown on War Stomp? I've not used it in a long time. I used to play Tauren, but like years ago. Is it 2 minutes? It's not 3 minutes. That would be crazy. That would be insane. Is it 2 minutes? So you're going to have your War Stomp here for the Reaping? No, okay, you don't have it. Oh, no, you do. You just about... It's 1.5? Okay. So you know you can use it quite regularly. You can use it quite freely. So you have your War Stomp up here now. War Stomp ready. You even have a weak aura for it, which is cool. I would probably, because you... I would just use it on Reaping as much as you can. Especially with the casters. Even with the slams, sometimes it bugs. You can't always see it nice. I would just use it on Reaping. I mean, you can see your monk is just getting dropped, man. Like he's just his health is just popping. So I would just to give your healer just that extra second, just to get an extra heal or 2 out, just to bump your tank up. It helps just to have that War Stomp, even if you're not interrupting a spellcast or anything like that. It just gives that extra little. But I would use Typhoon as well. I would use Typhoon because realistically, you got to look at what's it called? Diminishing return or whatever? Where you've got 3 stuns. You've got Maim, you've got War Stomp, you've got Bash. Those are all going to feed off the same cooldown. Whereas, and eventually the mob becomes immune to it. If you have Typhoon, you have Skull Bash, you have War Stomp, you have Maim. You're cycling in all these different interrupts, these stuns, these silences, like all this. Okay, well none of those silences, but you know what I mean. Like you're cycling in these pushbacks, stuns, interrupts. The mob can't. The chances of having a DR is very, very low, especially when you got to consider all the other people in your group as well. What if you have other groups that are very stun heavy? If you're then bashing and war something, it's not very like coordinated, you know. So I would take Typhoon. I mean, obviously your tank doesn't like it, but whatever, fuck him. He's got to deal with it. You know what I've just noticed? Last thing I'm gonna say, Hug. Last thing is I noticed that you don't. Have you used MAME a single time? Have you honestly? Can you tell me, because I can't look through this whole dungeon. Do you use MAME? Because I don't see a keybind on it. It's the only ability I don't see a keybind on. No, you don't use MAME. Okay, I never used to use MAME either. Like I never used to use it. Because I thought it's a DPS loss. Like I'm just gonna Ferocious Bite or I'm gonna Rip. I'm gonna MAME. It's not. It doesn't do any damage. It's a really good stun. It is a really good stun. It's a 30-second cooldown roughly, and it just acts as a stun. It is a Skull Bash, and even if you use it on 1 combo point or 5 combo points, it doesn't matter. The amount of interrupts I can get off with cycling your Skull Bash, your Typhoon, especially if you've got War Stomp as well. You got Typhoon, MAME, War Stomp, Skull Bash. Boom. For me, as a Night Elf, I have my Shadow Meld Rake, which acts as it resets your stealth. Shadow Meld acts as if you're in stealth, and when you rake, it will stun the target. So you can have Shadow Meld Rake, normal Rake, Typhoon, and MAME. You got to think as a Feral Druid, nobody wants you Decky. Nobody wants a Feral Druid, not even Feral Druids, right? So the more utility you can bring to a party, the better. So having that MAME is just really, really nice. I also am curious, you're in Resto Spec right now, you're in Resto Affinity. Have you used that at any point? Is it what, Renew or whatever the fuck it is? I never use it. I don't go Resto Affinity. I go Balance Affinity. And the reason being, I'm in Moonkid. Oh, is that just a... Oh, you're in Moonkid Affinity. Is that just like a UI, but that's just always on your thing, yeah? So you are in Balance Affinity. Oh, okay, perfect. I was gonna say a lot of people will look at the difference between they'll go Resto Affinity and they'll go, oh, but I can do more healing. But by taking Boomkin Affinity, you increase your attack range by 3 yards, which means you can actually stand outside of the range of a lot of these abilities, so you can just never get hit by them. And if you don't get hit by them, there's nothing to heal. So be big brain, trust yourself a little bit, get used to being at a further back, a further distance. And you can do a lot of kiting with that and stuff. The amount of times, I think it was in Siege of Rallis, the first boss, everyone in the party died. Literally everybody. I was the last person alive. The boss had 20% health left, and I soloed it. And I've got a clip somewhere on my channel of doing it. And the only reason I was able to do it was because I was able to, A, run him into the bombs, but also because I was able to kite him out with being able to just swipe and thrash and use my Primal Wrath. Even though I couldn't get close enough to rip, I could Primal Wrath, which could just do some rip damage, and it was just like ticking damage. I just kite him out, and I could have done it all day. I could have just gone around cycles. I could have done it endlessly. It just helps put you further away from those mobs. It makes you a range class. I'm always so uncomfortable when I'm playing without Balance Affinity because I feel like I have to stay. Yeah, exactly. I can't play without it. I've tried it a couple times, and I just feel like I'm like right here in front of the mob, and I get hit by everything. I actually get hit from more things by not playing with it, and I end up taking more damage and dying more. Because I stand in shit that I'm too close. I'm too close. Brandinio, how you doing? Anyway, guys, that's gonna end that segment now.